This year,
Since the spraying,
we had, for a while we had like maybe 20 jays here. Now we seem to be down to 5 or 6, but one day we were talking about that and we thought, well, maybe they can't eat the seeds in the yard, that they
or how many insects have died that they're living on that they can't eat and find. They're coming
know.
here.
We had a flock of blue jays. I didn't even know there was such thing. I've never seen blue jays come in flocks before.
And there he is again.
Hi, Mr. Scales.
That's Mr. Scales.
You better make your mind up. My grandparents actually came to California from Virginia because my grandmother had a lung problem. And they suggested in Virginia that she might be better off in California. So they came to California and started farming in Hanford, which is the town where my daddy was born, and became a farm implement dealer, and is the town where I was born. So, we have farming in our blood, and my dad made his living selling farm equipment for various companies, including John Deere, which everybody would know. That's how we made our living, and I was taught to respect the agriculture business. I was taught you always buy California if you can. When you go in and there's 15 different apples, you find the one that's from California, that's the one you buy. That's how I was raised, and that's what I've always done. I've always liked being a Californian.
And we knew about pesticides too.
And so because I was raised in the San Joaquin Valley, like most people that were raised in the San Joaquin Valley, I had valley fever. Lots of people have had valley fever. It usually shows as a flu and people don't even know they've had it. I didn't know I'd had it either until I graduated from high school and I went to get my TB clearance to go to college, and they took little mini x-rays, and when they took the little mini x-rays, I had scar tissue all down one of my lungs and they wouldn't let me in school. It made me go to a lung specialist to find out why I had scar tissue all the way down my lung in case it was tuberculosis. But it wasn't. It was leftover from valley fever. And as I've gotten older, that's caused me other problems. I became asthmatic and not a big doctor person, so I controlled. We looked and looked and looked and looked because taking inhalers, it's just, we're natural people and I don't do medicine, and using the inhaler gives you shakes and it causes, we think, not good things for your heart.
It should be like this for a day.
It has epinephrine, and it can't be good for your heart to be inhaling epinephrine all the time. So we found a good alternative that worked in homeopathic medicine. And once I started on that, I was asthma-free for more than 3 years until I sprayed. We got the very short notice, the little card in the mail, and we read it, and we did leave. We knew that.
Yeah, I decided.
I have a lung problem. We figured it wouldn't be good for us, even if they said it was safe.
I told her I want her out of here. Let's leave.
So we went. We have a cabin we inherited in the Sierras, so we went up there.
Because they were going to spray like on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, September 9th, 10th, 11th, I think was the date. We only had maybe 3 or 4 day warning, so we talked about it and I took her out. I didn't want her to be exposed to it, because at that time we understood, well, it's a safe thing. It's like a perfume, but then they're giving a strange warning that says, well, go inside and close the windows and
wash off stuff afterwards and rewash your clothes if they're outside. And we're going,
this is more than a perfume.
My parents opted to stay. My parents lived just a few blocks from us. They're in their 80s. And we moved them here about 3 years ago. They decided to stay. It's hard for my dad to travel. So we went to the cabin.
Stayed away. Thought, well, we'll come back Wednesday, the 12th. We missed it.
And we came home kind of late. I think we got here at 6 or 7.
On Wednesday, thinking we missed it. And then that night, the aerial attack occurred. That was an experience. That was something else too. And I've never been in the military, so I didn't have the experience of maybe being in a zone, a risk zone, with bombings going on. I know it reminded me when it was great. It was fascinating when the planes were going over on one part to me, because I'm very curious about that. I'm going, wow, this must maybe like it was in World War II. because they were just, whoa. I mean, it was, the other side, it kind of scared you too. Because it was a different experience when they went over the house about 5 times. And
really loud.
around 11 o'clock.
Really, it was kind of scary. I thought that, I thought to myself, gosh, think how much scarier it is in Iraq. I mean, that's what I thought, because there's no bombs here, and we're assuming that what they're putting on us is not unsafe, unlike there, where they know it's not safe.
We were leery of it. But that night, here they are spraying us. We're going, great. We left to avoid it, and there they are. But we thought, even then we thought...
We did have everything closed up, and, we thought it'll be okay. What are you going to do? It's too late now anyway.
But
went to sleep.
We had the false notion at the time that, well, they just spray it, and then pretty soon you're okay. It's not a problem. It'll, in the morning you'll be okay. That's what we thought.
So at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with my respiratory tract completely closed down. But what actually woke me up wasn't the not breathing, which actually sounds funny, but it's not that weird a thing for me to have a hard time breathing. But I was just running mucus. My nose was running, my eyes were running, just pouring down my face. And it startled me awake. I was like, what is happening? And then I realized that my bronchial tract was closing down, so I grabbed my asthma medicine. By then I was wheezing. I took my asthma medicine. I had to take 3. Did I take 3?
Yeah.
I think I had to take 3 tablets, like every 5 minutes to break it. Normally, 1 breaks it. Then, every 3 hours I would have another asthma attack. And my face got swollen. And I started having flu symptoms. So then I thought I'd picked up a flu bug. I just didn't think this was a spray. I thought I'd picked up a flu bug. I had really sore legs. And I was nauseous. And I had intestinal problems. And so I thought, well, I can't go to Tammy's, our daughter's, with the flu. She's very susceptible. She's really thin, and she doesn't have a good immune system, never did. And so I don't want to take it to her. So I kept taking my temperature. I didn't have a fever. I didn't have a fever. I didn't have a fever. So
2 days later, I started with the symptoms. And
still we thought he caught it.
It was a flu. 2 days later, I now got it. It's a flu bug starting around. It's, September, it's winter time starting, the flus start. So we didn't think anything about it, because at that point we didn't even relate it possibly to being caused by the spray.
I knew all of this was the whole...
Yeah, that
I
partner
knew that
asthma,
was from the spray. There was no doubt in my mind at all.
But I didn't have that night. A couple of days later, then my nose plugged up, sore throat, bronchial stuff, coughing. It started with coughing at first, just sneezing, coughing. Then it started plugging up.
The sneezing was amazing, wasn't it?
The eyes start watering, get burny, had ear troubles, but it kind of went day to day to day. And after a couple of days, trying to, we're used to treating ourselves with the flu. I mean, if you can tell when you have an infection starting, then you might need to go to a doctor to get an antibiotic. But we know how
use
to manage
natural
that.
antibiotics, and we really...
We're monitoring ourselves and resting and taking care. But I noticed after a couple of days, watching her, because I was going, well, her symptoms and my symptoms are a couple of days apart. So I followed her going, okay, what am I going to be like in the next couple of days? And we kept doing that
But nothing ever changed. It just stayed that way.
And new things occurred, to diarrhea, to really getting exhausted.
And the exhaustion.
Just exhausted. Incredible exhaustion. Cold.
And it really was...
No fevers, though. That was the amazing part.
Really was at that point that you decided that I had to quit taking the asthma pills every 3 hours and get out of here. So...
Yeah, right about then. At that same time, I went on the internet and went, I wonder if anybody else, what kind of flu is this? And my son then called me, I think around the 19th of September, and said, there's an article in the paper, people are reporting being made ill by this spray, and it sounds like you. And I'm going, really? So I went on the internet and did a search and ended up finding Mike Lindbergh's site. And I sent him an email that said our symptoms and what's going on. And I know Mike, and he wrote me back and said he was sorry to hear about it. And then a couple of days later, he sent us an email that said, gee, we got this court case going on trying to stop this thing. We need you to make testimony. We think your testimony is important. So we're scrambling. I think we only had a couple of hours to get it in. So she signed hers. I'm fine. Yeah, we're taking it up to deliver the thing. And I guess that's how we became, well, we're one of the 643 in that number that's being talked about.
But the day after we delivered that was when I left.
Yeah, right then is when we left shortly after that. But we're one, we understand, we've learned, instead of two, Mike reported us as a family of one, a family. So,
all the reports
so there's probably more than 643 if you really break the report down, since we're only one of the two.
Well, he already said someplace that he knows there's a family of 5 that counted as one, so there's probably a lot of those. But at any rate, then I went to Sacramento to our daughters. I really didn't realize how really sick I was. I was really sick. When I'd been there for just a couple hours when our son-in-law got home. He's an economist for the state. He was really in a budget time and working a lot of hours and really stressed. Walked in the door, got this funny look on his face, and he came over to me and he said, Mom, are you all right? And I said, yeah, I haven't felt good. And he goes, no, I'm worried about you. And I said, well, that's why I'm here. I want to see if this is going to go away if I get out of that spray. It did. It took a few days. It went away. The asthma attacks stopped. Didn't have any more asthma attacks the whole 2 weeks that I was there. When I started feeling better, I guess I came back. You didn't take me that time. I drove that time.
You drove that time.
So I came back. Probably within 5 or 6 hours of hitting the peninsula, I started having asthma attacks again. Within 24 hours, my eyes were running again and red, and I was stopped up. And he said, you can't stay.
I called my sister in Fresno.
He called his sister Judy in Fresno and said, can I come? And she said, of course. Because I felt like my son-in-law, how long am I going to expect my son-in-law to have me in his house?
Right.
So I went to my sister-in-law's. Again, stayed for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Didn't have one single solitary asthma attack. I even tried to provoke them because Fresno is not known for its air quality. So I actually went out a couple of times during rush hour and went to the grocery store and bought dinner for my sister-in-law. Doesn't cook, so she was very thrilled to have me there cooking. So, I drove over to Whole Food in the rush hour traffic. Yeah, I didn't have a single asthma attack. So it isn't a question of was my respiratory tract irritated and it was just causing me to have all these asthma attacks. It wasn't that. It was it's something here. Because Fresno should have agitated it, but it didn't.
And then you come back after 2 weeks. Well, let's come back. It should be okay by now.
So now it's been a month, right?
We know they're going to spray again, but let's come home now. And within 12 hours, here she is again. Just in constant asthma. I'm going, this is it. So I snatched her up, took her over to our cabin in the Sierras. I stayed. I'm self-employed as an insurance agent, so it's a high service position, and I stayed. But continued feeling tired, a lot of exhaustion at that point, and then I forget exactly when the breathlessness started for me. Asthma also started. I don't have asthma, but I was having asthma symptoms because she's going.
It was when I came home.
Yeah, she's going. You're wheezing.
When I came home from Sacramento, I said, "You're wheezing." And he goes,
I'm
"What do you
going,
mean wheezing?" And I said, "Wheezing, like an asthmatic, wheezing."
I'm going. I am. I didn't know. Oh, he got asthma too.
No, he did.
Yeah.
He's only just stopped with the labored breathing. He sounds like he's snoring all the time.
I can hear it, yeah.
He's much better too than he was.
Yeah, he is a lot better.
We didn't.
So
he got sick too. So, poor cat. But let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. After she's in Sacramento and the cabin, and then I started suffering breathlessness or shortness of breath, and And actually, you told me I had asthma first, and then after that, then the breathlessness started, and I didn't know what that was.
I
That really,
here. I didn't even know that was going on with you.
that really scared me. You know, I mean, I'd never experienced in the middle of the night, you're waking up and you're just feeling this down in this part of my chest. It was just hard to get. Felt like I was starving for oxygen, and that went for about a month and a half.
Welcome to the world of an asthmatic.
And then that left. It did go away. The symptoms of that have been gone for quite some time now, but that was in December at some point when that was gone. After the second spray, that occurred then. After I talked to Mike, or corresponded with Mike, then I started doing internet searching, and really wasn't at that point really focused on the toxicity of the product, but after we started digging into it and getting more information and learning, and then when they came out with the list of ingredients, that's when things started for us to start digging into this.
Well, and when we realized that they weren't done.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we got through the 2 months. Okay,
Yeah.
I could get through that. I had to be gone for 2 months. If they're going to spray every night, or if they're going to spray for 9 months, that means I can live here for 1 month a year.
Not really, no, if you really think about
Well,
it.
not with this 90-day time release thing,
Yeah.
but even if you assumed that I could come back after 2 months after the spraying, even if I could, that would leave me 1 month.
Yeah, but I
1
wish
month, but you know, you're not going to do
1
that.
month every year for 5 years,
And
and that's not even true because the stuff we now know
yes,
is 30 to 90 days
Yes.
just in breaking down
Yes.
in your homes and outside, everywhere. You're exposed to it 24 hours a day. We now know that, and so even if they spray once a month for 9 months or once every 2 or 3 months for that
they're not
same
gonna
period of
matter. We
time,
can't stay.
it's still here for the other 3 months.
And my
She's going to be
parents,
exposed to it. She can't live here.
we bought my parents a house, and it's just 3 blocks from us, so that they could move here. I'm an only child, so you know, wherever they are, I'm going to have to be going to help take care of them. So we moved them here. My mom had a reaction. She's had a discomfort in her chest. She actually thought it might be a heart problem. She went to her cardiologist, and they said, no, there's nothing wrong with your heart. So she went to her regular doctor,
Jerry Carnazzo.
Jerry Carnazzo, very well respected doctor here on the peninsula. And he said, you know, I can't tell you that the spray caused this, but I can tell you that I think you should leave before the next spray. And that was this after the September spraying. So they did leave.
October.
They did leave for the October spraying, but it's very difficult for my dad, like I said, and he actually injured his leg while he was gone, and that's just been a whole disaster for them, and they've decided they're leaving. They're just not gonna do this anymore. They can't.
But
They can't. I mean, he's 81 years old. They can't just.
She had the pain here that I shared with that
Yes.
too. That was another month or so experience of trying to. What is this?
Did it feel like it was at the bottom of your esophagus?
Yeah, right there.
That's
down
exactly
low.
the same spot where Mother
Just,
said.
just a constant pressure.
And she
a
was
real minor
concerned,
pain.
you know, she said it's a pain, but I thought about how they say sometimes a heart attack feels like heartburn. And she said, so, you know, that's what I was thinking. You know, I'm almost 80 years old. Maybe I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're going to go. So that's one house we're going to have to sell already. And, you know, if we have to sell this house and close our
Right.
business, it's going to be disastrous. Plus, hey, this is where we want to stay. You know, we've lived here
40 years.
40 years, yeah. We've had our business since 1971.
Yeah.
He got a Chamber of Commerce award for outstanding service, which they have never given to an insurance industry person ever. So that's what he likes to do, is help people, and that's what he does in his business. And I think it's a loss to the community as well as our loss, because you know, we like that we walk into town to Grove Market and buy our groceries, and you know, we like this whole small town Pacific Grove thing, and that's why we remodeled the house, because we want to stay here. So we remodeled it. You can tell by our copper that's kind of unusual. We remodeled it for what we wanted, not to sell, for us. So you know, this is just, it's just devastating to me that I should have to leave my home. And you know, when it's USDA behind all of this, we don't even know what we should do. You know, we can go to our cabin, but if they keep doing this, who's to say they're not going to spray everywhere? Who's to say they're not going to spray in South Dakota and in New England or wherever? Where are you going to go? So, you know, we're seriously talked about, do we have to leave the country? I mean, what do you have to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's it take to get
You know, and I'm one of
our
those
government even
hand over your heart Americans, you know.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it goes so many directions. This whole issue is a kaleidoscope of confusion. You know, it's everything you look at. Why is it like that? I mean, I get troubled too. I mean, but one thing that bugs me, and is that I look at the Constitution of the United States, I look at the Constitution of California, and the first item in the Constitution gives you the right, I mean, to actually obtain, it doesn't say have, it says obtain health, peace, happiness. And it says it right there.
And it guarantees your safety.
And it's the highest law in this country, those constitutions, in the state and in the nation. There's no code, regulation, ordinance, you name it, that's higher than that anywhere. Period. Bottom line. An emergency declaration isn't even higher than that. Even from the president's probably not higher. And then you have the president of this nation, you have the governor of the state of California, and the representatives giving oath, swearing oath to protect us and hold those in that order. I mean, they swear to that.
That's
that we
really
will
what their
protect
job
you
is.
with these laws.
That Constitution is really what their job is. Their
Yeah.
job isn't the rest of it. The job is that Constitution.
Where did this go? How come Governor Schwarzenegger isn't acting right now or 2 months ago by saying, this is wrong, I have to stand up and stand against this as the governor with the oath and the authority given me, stop this. You're violating that first section of the Constitution. Where did that go? Did it go into corporate law? Are we now a corporation of the United States of America with no constitution, with a governor that is more concerned about protecting the economy and the money? What happened?
And it's very short-sighted to think you're going to protect the economy if you don't protect the people, because without the people, there's not going to be any economy. It takes people to have an economy. Besides the other economies that it's affecting. On the petition, I read a man from Germany who had just come to California. He's been in the United States, he said, for a while, and he planned on spending 2 months in California. He said, in light of the spraying, I've changed my mind. I'm going home where they don't spray people.
Yeah.
So there are implications for property values and tourism and
Yes.
all
Can
you
kinds of
talk-
things. Can you talk about that?
Oh, tourism. Oh, yeah.
I actually have been contacting all the chambers of commerce in California because I had read on a blog site someone where they'd been discussing the moth issue, and someone had written, wow, didn't know this was going on, remind me not to come to California anytime soon. So I actually copied that quote out of the blog site, and because I never thought of that. I never thought of it. So I thought, what a horrible thing for tourism, and I just started writing all the chambers of commerce and saying, you know, you guys need to be aware that this is going on, and this is what people are saying. And people don't think of, you know, we have friends that live in Japan. They think of California as California. They don't think of northern, central, southern.
Right.
It's just California.
They have no perception
Yeah,
of the size
they
of the
don't
nation.
have a concept.
Yeah, no concept of the size of California.
So people that are coming here to visit from a foreign country, they don't think,
No, they don't think
I
that.
can go to Disneyland and the spray won't bother me. They don't think that. They
And
just
you're
think
California.
they're spraying chemicals in California and I'm not going there.
Yeah. When they sprayed, I mean, it was uncanny. The restaurants were empty. I mean, you could go out.
We have a lot
there
of
was-
restaurant owners insured, and any number of them
Yeah, they were-
commented to us on how
Man, there's nobody
the
in
restaurant
town.
business is way off.
Yeah, way off.
And still is way off, but especially during the spraying, they said they had no business. No business. People
Yeah.
didn't come out at all.
Yeah.
That's our only base of income.
Right.
There's really no industry here. There's only restaurants and hotels, and
tourisms to
The
fill it
beach
up. And the aquarium
cute little
right
stores.
just down the block.
Yeah, the aquarium, cute little places where you can buy, we have little boutiques and little gift shops, and that's art.
Pacific Grove
art stores.
is unique. It's, a 1800 town that still has a lot of the 1800 appearance in it. And so
Mostly
that's
Victorians and
a lot of Victorians, a lot of old places.
and the bungalow era, craftsman era houses.
It's a unique little town, and people come here. We know they come here because they want to experience this. They don't see it anywhere else. This old, unique town.
It is.
We kind of came here too because of our asthma initially, because we knew it was a clean air place. You have constant air exchange going on here, and so that would minimize pesticide exposure.
And one of my reliefs for asthma has always been, in fact, my old cat, this cat, he just came to us recently, but our old cat and I used to go to the beach because one way to relieve my asthma has always been just to go to the beach.
The ozone.
And in fact, when this attack started, the second day after that, the spraying, and I'd had all these problems, I said to him, let's just go to the beach. Let's just go take a walk on the beach. And while we were walking on the beach, of course, we were moving along, and while we were walking on the beach, I had another asthma attack. I have never in my life had an asthma attack at the beach. I just stopped dead in my tracks, and I said, I can't believe I'm having an asthma attack at the beach.
Had to get back to the car quick.
I'd
This
forgotten
tiredness, the just overall sense of not feeling well actually continued on, we think, until
Long
around the
time.
first part of February.
So that makes it how long?
Well, from September 12th until February 1st, what's that? How many months? 5, 6?
5 months, yeah. It really did take a terrible toll on me. It really did take a terrible toll.
So what's the take-home message for people, given your experience? You not only are victims of this program, but you're also very active in opposing it and organizing around it. So what, for the people who haven't been sprayed and for the people who are starting to get involved in organizing, what do you have to say?
You need to really encourage your congressman. Get in touch with them. Let them know that there are lots and lots and lots of people who don't want this to happen. I think legislative action is the only way we're going to stop it. And
I think we have to embarrass the governor, frankly, for allowing us and people to become ill under this thing, and to allow A.G. Carmer to go around and just say, well, it's a pheromone, it's just a little perfume, and it's safe, it doesn't even hurt the moth. That's just outrageous and absolutely there just is no truth at all in what he's saying.
And so insulting to
It
the
is.
643 families who reported illness to act like
It's even more
we
than
weren't.
that.
Well, I
Shoot,
said
I was
reported.
yesterday. I was with another insurance guy.
I know.
And talking to him, just trying to get his help, and he says, "Oh, gee, maybe that explains why I've been feeling bad for the last 4 months." I encounter that all the time, even now. People going, "You mean that respiration trouble I've been having might be caused by the spray?" None of us knew it in the beginning, and many people now don't even relate it back to the possibility it's the result of the spray. The stuff is still here. I read that it takes 12 months for the residual to wear off. Now, what the heck's residual? I don't even know what that is, but I got that off of CDA's own website from their own scientists saying that. Okay, if this is a biodegradable, wonderful little product that we should be thankful that the CDFA has found to spray on us, then, they say that. Then I go, I don't think I'm too thankful for this, and what the heck is this biodegradable stuff, and what's this residual that I'm living with right now that I can't see? That's the thing I want people to understand, is that I'm concerned that people have no understanding that this stuff is going to be in their homes, their businesses, their schools, down the street, everywhere. Billions of little tiny little plastic microencapsulated pills that are breaking down and you can't see them. They're breaking down, getting smaller and smaller as they're sprayed, and we're breathing them and living with them and eating them. Your cat Our cat is outside laying on the ground, having him stick to his fur. He's coming inside, and I didn't even know this. He's licking it and ingesting it. And he's getting up on our bed and putting this stuff on my bed. And I have no idea it's even there. And people don't understand this. And how do you get this out to them? And we're going to live with this for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 to 5 years? I'm not going to be the only one that suffers breathlessness or her asthma or me asthma. It's just, how can the human body even endure that? This toxic chemical all the time. You just can't. It's not possible. That's my message. Wake up.
And people that weren't made ill before, month after month after month, people are going to get sick. Lots of people are going to get sick. I'm afraid that we're going to have the experience that they had in Auckland, where instead of it being hundreds, it was thousands and thousands of people. And people that are still finding out 10 years later that they're sick, that didn't know, because some things don't show up immediately. I just think it's just a long-term horror movie that people need to be aware they're going to be a part of.
I mean, the laws prohibit
that haven't
them.
been sprayed yet, it's going to happen.
It's clearly, even from A.G. Carmura in Alameda on April 1st, being cornered with that question, can you spray checkmate on the farm workers in the field? And he finally said, no. There's laws that protect the farm worker. How come they don't protect me? I think there are laws. But how come our representatives ignore them under some authority? I wonder, where's the jurisdiction? Where's the authority that is above these laws for me and her and my community? What gives them the right to do this? Nothing does, other than somebody's getting something out of it, money, or who knows. It can't. The other thing that bothers me is how many people have to be made ill before CDFA stops what they're doing. I think one is too many. One is too much. And we've got, 643 people, families. I talk to a lot of people in my job, and I talk to them a lot about this spraying, and I am amazed how many people say they're sick or have been made ill or suffered symptoms. None of it's provable, but they're all going, wow, I had no idea that it could be from the spray. I think there's thousands of people that are like that, not just 600.
Why do we have to prove it?
And why do you have to do that?
We shouldn't have to prove that we're sick. I was saying to my husband, when I call the doctor and I say I'm sick, the doctor doesn't say, well, prove it, and then we'll figure out what we can do for you. They say, okay, come in, we'll try to figure out what it is. Yeah. They don't doubt that you're sick. I mean, why would my government doubt that I'm sick?
They have an agenda to run, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. That's more important than my illness. And in fact, CDFA's website says that they don't know the health effects it might have on the elderly, children, or the compromised, people with compromised health, which is where I would say I fall. It even says they don't know what the health effects would be on that, so even they admit that, which to me should be enough reason right there. What are they saying? That the elderly, the children, and the compromised health people are dispensable? Is that what they're saying? It seems like that's what they're saying. It sounds a little like fascist Germany without the
I've been with A.G. Carmura at his press releases that we can't question him with. That's another shocking little event. I'm not an advocate. I mean, an activist. I'm not a politician.
We've never
been involved in
this.
any of that. Never have we been involved in any of that. I've just lived in Pacific Rome and done my job and served people. And then they made us sick, and now we realize we're up against the wall to try to stay here. What are we going to do? Somebody's got to help. Well, I became somebody. She became somebody. Whoever this somebody is.
This is my full-time job now. One of our staff has taken over my job because she said, if you guys don't stop this and you have to leave, we're all out of jobs. So I'll do your job and you stay home and do that job.
My employees are up there now dedicated to that, knowing what we're trying to do. I saw an article in the paper, it's been 2 months ago, a reporter stating this is President Bush's pet project. Yeah, he has a $330 million pork fund thing. They didn't use that word. That's me. And he talked about 3 special projects, and the light brown apple moth is one of his pet projects. So this thing goes to the highest level of so-called authority this country has.
Well, and the USDA's money comes from
Homeland Security,
which in itself is scary enough.
Homeland Security declares the light brown apple moth as an economic terrorist threat to this nation. This little dinky moth is going to destroy this country. It's going to eat every tree there is. It's going to eat all the lettuce. Now, it doesn't even attack lettuce. It doesn't even like lettuce. It can't roll a leaf on a lettuce. It's going to destroy Salinas Valley. It's going to go over to the San Joaquin Valley that gets 105 degrees that it can't live in beyond 84 degrees. And it's going to devastate the Salinas Valley. Okay,
San Joaquin.
Or San Joaquin Valley, what am I saying? San Joaquin, it's going to devastate it.
It can't survive in this.
It can't survive there, and it's going to still devastate it. And it's going to go the whole length of the country. If you look at their reports that they run on this computer program that I found out they use these words, I haven't figured them out, but like a lot of their words are hard to figure out what they mean. That runs these projections and all this redness around the country where this moth is going to devastate. And you just scratch your head and you go...
Can't even think how long that's going to take, because the thing only moves like
100 yards in its lifetime.
100 yards in its lifetime, so it's...
I mean, when it's born and becomes the moth, the most it travels is 100 yards in its lifetime.
All it does is after the moth is born, the moth just flies around looking for someplace to lay its eggs. It's done. I mean, its life is really spent as a worm, not as a moth.
And then it dies.
So it's just looking for a place to lay its eggs. So it's really not going to go flying off to the Pacific growth cypress trees or
it doesn't even want to live in the cypress trees.
Or the Monterey pine, where, New Zealand is like overrun with these moths, and they are the #1 exporter of Monterey pine trees in the world.
We didn't know, now we know. The truth is out. A.G. Carmer is not giving that to you. He's giving you only what he wants you to hear. And he's very believable doing it. And the farmers tell me they like him. And I can understand. He's a very personable, believable man. I guess he's perfect for his job, but not for us. That's my feeling about it. So the farmers are... I mean, I am not against eradicating the moth. That's the thing I also had to tell the farmer. I'm not against that. If it's an issue like they say it is, which I doubt very seriously, let's eradicate it, but don't spray poison on the people doing it. That's insane. That will never be acceptable. I mean, you can't even spray rose water on a community and not have asthmatics have trouble. My neighbor is a pharmacist at the community hospital. I've talked to him about it, and he confirms that to me. He says, oh, you can't spray anything on the urban areas and not have people respond with some kind of reaction to it. And he's against it too, of course, that you just can't do what they're doing and not make people ill.